Welcome to our third security chats inside the research process. Our session is part of Zero-Day Quest. So thank you so much for joining in. We're super excited to have you all here today. My name is Lynn Miashta, and I'm a Bounty Program Manager in the Microsoft Security Response Center, and I'll be your host for today's session. So as I mentioned, this is part of Microsoft Zero-Day Quest. Our Zero-Day Quest Research Challenge is running right now until October 4th. So during this period, vulnerability submissions to the MSRC in targeted scenarios and critical severity issues are eligible for multiplied bounty awards, rewarding those who help us really uncover like the most critical cases and critical vulnerabilities in Microsoft Azure, Copilot, Dynamics, the list goes on and on. So for more information about the research challenge, our Zero-Day Quest scope, please visit our website, https://aka.ms/cdq. And so before we get started, I've got a couple of housekeeping things to cover. So today we've got Joe and Pushkar who will be doing a kind of security chat, and we'll have some time towards the end of the session for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them using the Q&A function in Teams, and there'll be some time at the end that we'll get to those questions. Second is our session today will be recorded, so it'll also be published on the MSRC's YouTube channel. And then we may share some resources or links or things like that in our session today. And those will be available via chat and then also available via the YouTube video description once that's posted. So with that, I'll hand it over to Joe. Excited to have you here.
Thank you, Lynn. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Joe Miller from the Microsoft Security Response Center, and I focus on vulnerability submissions tied to Microsoft's AI's product and services and help drive mitigation for vulnerabilities in this space. Today, I'm super excited. We're joined by Pushkar Saraf, the Director of Security at Microsoft AI, and he leads security efforts across some of our most flagship Copilot services that you all probably used many times. And I've had the opportunity to work closely with Pushkar and some complex and high impact mitigations in this space. And I've seen really firsthand how his team approaches security as a strategic partner in engineering and not just a gatekeeper for security, which is a hard balance to execute. So today in this 30-minute-ish session, we'll explore some of the unique challenges his team's facing and how his team builds security into the development lifecycle for his products and what's next on the horizon. So I think for whether you're deep in the AI space right now or just kind of starting to explore, conversation should be valuable. So yeah, let's dive in. Pushkar, I'm really excited to have you here. Can you start off by just sharing a little bit about your background and maybe how you got into AI security?
Oh, absolutely, Joe. Thank you for the introduction, Lynn and Joe both. So just about me, over more than 15, 16 years now in the tech space, I started building cloud applications and then transitioned to an architect, and I was building cybersecurity products. And then at Microsoft, I came in to do a lot of security for M365, and I'm at Microsoft AI right now doing security for our consumer businesses, being Copilot, all our Copilot ecosystems. So having fun here and excited for more secure Copilots.
Very cool. And that actually leads really well into my first question, since you have a really diverse background. What makes securing AI products currently different from traditional software or cloud services?
I believe all the existing controls still stay, but you're adding more on top of it. But if you look at the vector, right, specifically in terms of attack surfaces, you're surfacing a lot of information. So this information is getting collated across systems, right? And then you want to make sure that the AI agents are doing the right thing that they want to do, as well as people who are developing them, they are also having secure access to the systems. And the fun part about, right, if we look at all the things that are surfaced just via a prompt, right? Just via a single prompt, you can lead the Copilot or lead any LLMs out there in the world right now to do adversarial things, right? And there's so much behavior that goes into it. I generally term that as AI behavior analytics. I coin that term, right? So essentially not UEBA, but essentially it's AI and entity behavior analytics. That field is evolving more and more, and we need to invest more strength in terms of securing these systems and understanding those behaviors of agentic AI things.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a new space, and it is. I love the concept that it's just building on top of, because that makes it accessible for a lot of traditional security researchers to come into AI, because they can apply their already existing knowledge and just with a growth mindset. But yeah, I think that this brings up a lot. One thing that's come up, and I think at your level that you might have really good input here, is there seems to be a really tricky time right now to balance between sort of strong security and also business needs, which is everyone is releasing products quickly. They're trying to keep cutting edge technology. How is that balance as a security leader in an org to sort of keep all that in balance?
I look at it at two things, right? One, that some things that right, you should make sure that they are secure by default, right? Plug in security or have the security mindsets when you're developing these systems, not the after fact, right? But there will be instances, and I want to be true and pragmatic to the situation, there will be instances where you need to respond to an industry need, right? At that point, you need really faster response time and mitigations solutions that needs to be dealt in really fast, because these agents are used by millions right now, right? So the impact is really large. So the response time really matters in terms of how well you respond and how fast you respond with the mitigations. But it's both the ends. It's not just one, oh, just do secure things. There will be things even in the future that we find new, right? Day in and out, we find new vulnerabilities across the entire ecosystem. That not just at Microsoft or any big tech firms, it's just everywhere in the industry. So we have to respond better.
Yeah, I've noticed that across sort of a lot of our MSRC submissions and industry partners, talking with them, and it seems like fluid, quick response. AI is kind of forcing everyone to up their game a little bit and get a little bit more flexible and fluid and quick. So I love that. That's a really great mindset. Kind of talking about that, sort of the industry as a whole is learning a lot from this sort of like AI security developments, and what do you see as sort of the biggest unsolved problem right now in AI security? So across even, not necessarily just Microsoft, but industry-wide, what's the next sort of unsolved problem that we all need to approach?
I'll start with the broader topic, policy and governance, not just within the companies, right? Governments need to form strong governance policies in how AI behaves, because the data residency norms, every country has its own now, right? So how the data is flowing across geographies, who's using it, right? Privacy is a big concern as well. So I want to start like governments really need to take an effort into forming these programs well, because then there'll be a standardization. Now, when we actually look at the effects AI agents would have, the agents essentially have access to vast amount of data, right? So they have a mesh structure. We have consolidated the information across, how that information flows into the systems, right? Redaction, no sensitive information, no customer information, training the data right with those mindsets. That is one very big topic in terms of data, how models are trained. The second big topic is about when we look at the peripheral layer, this agent, once it's developed, right, it's going to be connected to ecosystems. It's not just a standalone interfaces. We right now act with one specific browser or something, right? But this agents will be embedded into our daily lives, right? So how the supply chain risk evolves once these agents are embedded, that really matters. There's a really deep thought we need to take as an industry, how these AI systems are governed in supply chain risks. So
that's interesting. Yeah. And
three
also
topics:
kind of brings up
governance, data, how to make secure the data it relies on, and then the supply chain risk.
That's interesting. And it brings up a follow-up question for me, which is all these things seem like they're going to need a massive amount of collaboration and communication. It always kind of comes back to that. So since everything is integrated and agents have plugins and accessibility with internal products, but also external capabilities, how do you think that collaboration is going right now? Do you think that there is like industry alignment, or is there more work to be done there as well?
No, I believe there's a lot of work. We're just scratching the surface, right? There needs to be a lot of industry collaboration, because if these agents would have wrappers on top of it, right, the wrappers itself need to be governed, right? What are they doing, right? Because there might be interminute data store for you, or interminute systems, how the data is flowing back to the agents, right? So that's really important. The industry overall needs to evolve and collaborate more. There are already active forums, right? Like, for example, the OASP group, right, really forms great controls. If you I think if people are interested, they should really look at the top 10 OASP LLM risks, right? And really form, if they are developing the agents, look at that as your baseline principle, right? You need to hit all the things, right? Excessive agency, right? In terms of what permissions does AI agents get to span the access, right? Have they accessed the information? Is there anomalous access, right, through the agent systems? So there are so many topics, right, that can evolve. But I think that OAS 10 list really acts well in terms of a guiding principle.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And the recent like agentic release, the agentic top 10 was also really interesting. That just happened around the DEF CON time. So definitely recommend everybody check that out. Yeah. Kind of shifting gears a little bit, I want to take advantage of, you're a leader in Microsoft AI, and you build teams, right? Like you build and lead teams of security engineers and researchers. And so I know that was a question, pre-post question coming into this, but what sort of skills and mindsets are you looking for as you're building your security engineering teams? And what sort of maybe is new skill sets that are emerging because of the need in AI?
I will, for a moment, table AI as a topic, security as core topic. I think security overall, inherently, if you have to do security, you have to have a curious mind. You have to have a mind that correlates things, connects dots, right? So it can even start with small solving teasers, puzzles, right? And it can as well span into deep subject expertise of threat hunting, blast radius analysis, right? UEBA, the topic that just touched based on, right? So these base topics are going to prep you for the AI systems, and then understanding, okay, what's model context protocol? How does it work, right? All these ecosystems of AI systems, how they work, right? The systems design for that AI systems is really important to understand the threat landscape. So I think you should evolve from the curiosity mindset, gain deeper expertise in these areas also on top of it, then you learn the system design. I think that's a really good starting point. And then you can always deep dive based on your security interest, what exactly you want to do. Then you can deep dive into each specific topic that's related to the AI security.
I love that. Yeah, even on our teams, one of our sort of like paramount skills that we recruit for is technical curiosity. So, you come across things every day, and there's a separate mindset where you see something you don't know, and you're like, well, I guess I'm going to research that for a couple hours now, and you just can't help it. And that's great though.
And
but
patience.
Interesting.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience very much. Yes.
Definitely. Awesome. How do you keep your team? So one of the things, even with our external researchers right now in AI, because it's emerging and it's a disruptive space, how do you keep your team motivated and focused, given kind of how complex everything is and how fast moving everything is right now?
Apply agents, AI agents to optimize your work. My team is right now building some agents that is going to optimize a lot of security work in terms of understanding the threat landscape. So that essentially, in terms of security, once you get deeper into the problem itself and you're trying to do it, you understand more problems, right? So yeah, build agents to work with AI.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a very like technology answer to that. I really like that. Yeah.
But you need to get deeper into a specific topic, right, to understand it. And once you're hands-on on it, you're much closer to the problem, and then not just peripheral. So
That makes sense. Yeah. And then kind of looking ahead, talking about a little bit in the future, we sort of touched on this a little bit with unsolved problems, but everything's changing so fast and developing, and you know, there's a lot of new features that are about to come out industry-wide. What do you see as the next big, you know, risk? I think that there's sort of these categories of issues that have popped up, but what do you think in the next year is going to be the next big security threshold that we all need to get ahead of?
I believe prompt injection is going to be top of mind for everyone. That's number one, right? And then when I really look at it, right, there's in the background, right, when you look at prompt injection, there are other topics as well. So 3 topics nested under prompt injection. When you look at the backend systems, what you really need to look at is output handling. One, right? What exactly is the output given by the LLM systems? Number 2 is about training data poisoning. So you don't want the training data to be poisoned by an adversary. You want to make sure that the training data is right. And when the LLM is again responding. So I'm going layer below, right? From top to bottom, from prompt to output to training data poisoning. And there's one more, but specifically about training data poisoning, you want to make sure that the data is sane, right, truthful. You do not want to train the LLM on wrong data sets. You want to make sure that it is safe for operation. There are a variety of people who operate, take decisions based on Copilot. You want to make sure that the information is right. We're not trying to solve the data void problem. It's a problem since ever the information age. Yeah. We don't want to solve that, right, essentially, but we take that attempt to make sure that the information is safe, verified, and it is right. So that is the problem that we should solve. And the last, but not very least at all, because I feel governments will form these controls as well around excessive agency. This is specifically about what the AI agent is accessing. Is it supposed to access that? Does it has least privilege permissions? And essentially look at the behavior analytics. When I said UEBA, I don't like that term anymore. That was one of my passion topics earlier, but now I like AEBA, AI Entity Behavior Analytics, right? So I really love that topic now, and I'm forming some research around it as well. And then, yeah, there'll be some more work around it, around AEBA. So because we want AI to go on AI as well. So
I love that. Yeah, I thought that's been fascinating that there's sort of a social engineering aspect to a lot of what we've seen in early prompt injection vulnerabilities. And I kind of wondered if eventually that the models aren't trained to be as much of a helpful assistant, which is really nice from a user perspective. It's really great. And I wonder if some of that will sort of serve as a mitigation as well, where it's the models won't have to be as helpful. They can sort of just, you know, be assistants in a different way. But no, that's great. Yeah, output handling, data poisoning, and grounding data. I think that all those are sort of like
excessive agency as well. Very important.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And okay, and then let me see what my next question. We have one here, kind of pivoting a little bit to Q&A. I have one that says, oh, this is good. Okay, so there are a lot of organizations out there that are just now implementing AI. They're just getting into, they want to get in, but they don't have necessarily a dedicated security team. So what advice would you give for smaller, mid-sized organizations? They want to safely deploy AI tools, but they maybe don't necessarily have a dedicated security team for that oversight. How can they best keep themselves secure?
I really like the question, because the intention of the question itself is to earn privacy. Right? To have privacy, earn trust of the customer that it is secure, right? I love that question. But I know there are research crunches, right? So I believe doing security right, doing the foundations right. I think there are enough industry practices. Vetting the product with external companies, or having probably a contract basis as well, right? Getting plugged into that will really work, because I believe this question stems from finance constraints. And I believe it's the right thing to do. There are enough governance bodies when you go out there because you want to get certified as well. And there are external companies who do that. So even if you look for it, there'll be tons of companies who do it. Right. So I think that's one model that will work. But as you scale, as you grow in terms of your revenue, you need to form that thoroughly because there'll be different type of threats as you get exposed more to the business world. There'll be different kind of threats that you would anticipate, and you should start planning it. Depending upon the scale, I don't know what the scale and size of the number that the company is, but I believe you have to have that journey to the enterprise. So
that makes sense. It's a good answer, yeah. And then, yeah, actually, I don't have a follow-up for that one, but let's see what my next question is here. This one's actually pretty tailored to maybe your experience, what you can answer, but it's around jobs right now. It's a kind of a hot thing. So, and you mentioned this a little bit when building your team, but this one specifically, when you're hiring AI researchers and engineers, in the screens and the interviews, is there any skills or experiences that you value the most? And is there anything that's setting apart your candidates right now that's like immediate, like yes?
Practical knowledge versus theoretical knowledge.
Okay, yeah. Let's expand on that.
Practical knowledge in terms of saying, oh, you might not have done specific scenario. That's okay. But have you practiced those scenarios? Have you really looked at the industry tools out there? Have you looked at specific scenarios, right? Then in theory about, oh, this can happen if this is wrong, right? Versus what actually needs to be done. So the curiosity mindset is actually looked at. How far do you go yourself? Curiosity mindset on getting embedded into actual things that you're interested and have passion for doing it, it really shows up in an interview, right? And it really matters, right? To have that growth mindset. Okay, I understand this problem. This is the area that is correlated to it. I want to grow it. Curiosity, growth mindset, right? Really great skills. And I don't want to generalize this, but essentially get deeper into the topic.
Very cool.
And it's okay. And it's perfectly okay not to know everything. You cannot know everything, right? But what you know, it should be really profound and have a strong impact in terms of saying, okay, this is a proper security opinion, and we need to make sure that this happens. So
I like that. So more, instead of a mile wide and an inch deep, it's an inch wide and a mile deep. Yeah. So,
and as you grow, you'll anyways gain the breadth, right? So it's
good. That happens with experience over time. Yeah.
It's like the T-shaped personalities, and then you grow into an oval-shaped personality, right? As gradually you gain depth into specific areas, and then you gain multiple depths, and then become oval with a lot of breadth. And then
I have a question from the group. I don't know for Microsoft AI, you may not have a lot of purview on this, but just in case, I'll pose it. Has Microsoft adapted existing risk management frameworks to address AI risks in Copilot, specifically for federal deployments, which I know MAI is in BizChat have
we are consumer business, but I'll provide you a specific perspective, right? At Microsoft, we have one of the most complex as well as most mature risk management systems. And risk relates to change management as well. So everything related to a risk, right from if it's a change to a specific system, where it gets impacted to, where it will get deployed to, everything is evaluated. And every year we get audited, right? So we have to make sure that we are on top of our game. So to make sure that the world relies on that enterprise systems.
Excellent. Okay. And I think that I'm not seeing any more questions flowing in right now. So is there, I'll give one last chance for any questions that want to pop in. And then is there any other plugs or anything, Pushkar, that you'd like to say that you want to kind of wrap with? And then if there's anything we didn't cover that you want to make sure we get out there, now would be a great time as well, if there's anything.
No, I think we covered quite some breadth, right? We spoke about current trends in the industry. How do we collaborate? We spoke about how about like what are skills necessary to get into AI security? Yeah, I think this is really good. Like, yeah, I love it.
Awesome. And yeah, so I'll close there. I just want to say thank you so much. I know we work closely together, so we talk a lot, but I really appreciate you taking the time and talking about this, especially from your lens. It's an interesting perspective. And yeah, Len, I'll turn it back over to you, and you can wrap us up and let everybody know the details to where they can follow up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joe and Pushkar, for your unique perspective today and for our conversation. Really appreciate the time that you all took. And just as a couple quick reminders as folks are exiting and leaving here. One, we have a survey that will be shared in the chat. We would love to hear any and all feedback that you all have regarding the security chat session today and what you would like to see in the future. And then the second thing is, like I said, this was recorded, so we will be publishing this on the MSRC's YouTube channel. So be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and X to stay up to date and get a notification once this is published live on YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. See you soon.